China is a hard country to travel to, they say. But believe it or not, it's been the easiest country I've ever traveled to. You just need to know a few things in advance to be perfectly prepared for a unique, diverse, and straightforward country.
Even though this is the first video I am publishing of my China series, it is the last one I filmed. And that is simply because I wanted to be able to experience this country myself and therefore give you the best tips possible for your own trip to China. China has a few things that are different than any other country that I have been to before. And it is extremely important that fellow travelers are aware of these things. And this is what this video is going to be about. After watching this, you will be perfectly prepared for your own adventure in China. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel because I will of course upload my whole experience here in China. Everywhere I went to is going to be on this channel in the upcoming weeks. And I hope you will enjoy following me along my China adventure as well. But for now, let's dive into the 10 things you need to know before traveling to China. The first thing that is obviously very important for all travelers to China are the visa requirements. There are various visa types, and maybe you're lucky and you are from one of the few European countries, or I believe New Zealand as well, that can enter China visa-free for up to 15 days. Besides that, there is another visa type. It used to be a 144-hour visa, meaning you were able to enter and exit China from the same airport and you were able to travel through the country for 144 hours visa-free. And good news, it's now not 144 hours, it is now 240 hours that you can travel through China. 10 days in total visa-free. I will leave you a link in the description below where you can check out whether this is a visa type that you can make use of. If you aren't lucky and you cannot make use of any of those visa types, you will probably need to do the visa process. But don't worry, it is a very straightforward process and it is also a very fast process. It'll cost you, I believe, $110 to $150, depending on the number of entries you want to do. And then you will be able to stay for up to 90 days in the country. The second tip is extremely important for everybody that wants to travel to China and wants to stay connected via their social media accounts, for example. You probably heard about the Great Firewall of China that is blocking popular apps such as Google, Google Maps, Gmail, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, things that we use on a daily basis in Western countries. What you need is a VPN in order to use these applications, and you need to install the VPN before leaving for China. Alternatively, you can also get an eSIM that includes a VPN already, which is what I have chosen because I feel it is way easier and more convenient to use. I have chosen the Olafly eSIM, which is an eSIM that you can install easily via a QR code within just a few minutes. It connected me to China Mobile, the biggest and most reliable internet here in China, immediately after landing. The most amazing thing about it is that it includes a VPN and also unlimited data. I was able to use my social media accounts from the first second on. With an eSIM, no extra devices are needed and also no extra apps. I've heard that the VPNs sometimes are blocked here in China or they might fail you during the trip. So the Olafly eSIM, in my opinion, is way more reliable and so much easier to use. Since I really enjoyed the convenience of the Olafly eSIM, I decided to share it with you guys and also get you a little discount if you want to purchase your own eSIM that you can purchase for more than 210 destinations. If you are traveling to China, this is, in my opinion, a must thing you'll need because first of all, you want to use internet and you'll need a VPN, and the eSIM combines both in one. If you want to check it out, make sure to use the link in the description below or use my code Aventuralina to get your discount for your own eSIM. And trust me, here in China you'll need it because internet is extremely important. A lot of things work digitally, meaning you will rely on internet. And that also brings me to the next topic. And that is how to pay here in China. Actually, it is the very first country where I've never used any cash. Cash is here basically non-existent, meaning in order to be able to pay, you will need internet. Usually people here pay with applications. For example, you can download Alipay or WeChat, which are popular applications. And with those apps, you can easily scan a barcode or get your barcode scanned and easily pay online. In fact, I've only seen one single banknote during my stay here in China, and that's it. Everything else, I've paid it online and digitally. So I highly recommend you to set up WeChat or Alipay. Cash is still being accepted, but it's really not widely used. Speaking of Chinese apps, there are further applications that will make your life so much easier here in China. You should definitely get Alipay and WeChat. WeChat is being used for communication as well. It's kind of like the Chinese WhatsApp, but it has several other things included, such as the payments, and you can also receive money via WeChat. Alipay is also being used for payments and to receive money, but you can also use it for various other things. It has sub-apps included, such as trip.com, with which you can book trains, for example. It has a translation included that I used a lot. It works quite well. So both apps, WeChat and Alipay, are very useful, and I highly recommend you to set those up. Besides those two, you should definitely also get Didi. Didi is the Chinese Uber, so whenever you need to take a taxi, always use Didi for it. It is super affordable here and super easy to use as well. If you want to move around cities, for example, I recommend you to get Baidu app, which is the Chinese version of Google Maps. But the downside here is that it is completely in Chinese and therefore very hard to understand. Good news for people who have an iPhone. The Maps app of Apple actually has a contract with China somehow, and it works perfectly well here. It includes the public transportation as well, and that makes life so much easier. Google Maps works as well, but only if you want to walk to places. It does not have the public transportation included, and sometimes your PIN will be a little bit offset. You will also need a translator. Google Translator works perfectly well, and the advantage here is that it includes the voice translation, it has a photo translation, and the normal, if you type something in, it will translate it as well. So Google Translate is highly recommended. Besides that, as mentioned before, the Alipay app includes a translator that also works very well. With that, you will be all set to communicate yourself through China. In fact, internet and your phone are so important. You will see these chargers here everywhere in China. These are batteries. I can't get one out of here right now because you have to scan the QR code, and you are paying these batteries per hour you are renting it. So basically you scan the QR code, you take out one of these batteries, stick it onto your phone, charge your phone, walk around the city or wherever you want to go with it. And then at some point, once your phone is charged, you can just find another of these machines, stick it in there and leave it there, and you pay for the time you were using it. This is brilliant, but it also shows the importance of never letting your phone die. You should also understand a little bit the basics of the Chinese culture. For example, they value respect. Whenever you are giving or receiving an object, do this with both of your hands. That shows respect to the other person. Besides that, there is no real tipping culture here in China. For example, if you're ordering a meal in a restaurant, the waiter is not going to expect you to tip them. You can do so, of course, to show that you appreciate the service, but it won't be expected from you. Also, another extremely important thing is that you will need to be able to bargain here. You need to negotiate the prices. If you, for example, buy in a market, people will ask you for like 4 times the real price. Practice your bargaining skills before coming here because you will need them. Otherwise, you will pay way too much. Now that we are speaking about bargaining, the next thing is the language barrier. You will definitely face a problem of communication here in China. English is not widely spoken. It is highly appreciated if you know a little bit the basics. You can learn the basic words such as ni hao or xie xie. Gestures like this will be appreciated, but you will probably not be able to communicate a lot more than that. I can only repeat myself. For that, you will need a good translator, such as Google Translate, for example, that can also translate photos, because a lot of signs, a lot of menus in restaurants are completely in Chinese, and you will want to know what you're going to eat. Let's now talk about filming here in China. I've read a lot of scary stories on the internet saying that filming in China is forbidden in public, or that people who are filming with cameras or are connected to some media stuff, that they will be thoroughly interrogated by the police. Some people believe that filming here is extremely monitored by the government, and especially for foreigners who are walking around with cameras will definitely call the attention. Now, one thing, this is not a legal advice. I don't know what the law exactly says here in China, but I can tell you my experience. And I am filming here since more than 2 weeks now. and I have been filming wherever I wanted, I said whatever I wanted, and I've never been interrupted. There were some people watching me with curiosity, and that's it. So again, it's not illegal advice, it's just my personal experience here. Besides that, China is a very digital country. I saw a lot of people live streaming themselves here on the streets or filming, taking pictures and whatever. It would surprise me if someone like me would really call the attention of the police or the government even. Besides that, I feel like Chinese people are extremely proud of what they have achieved in recent years, as well as the government. China has changed a lot, and I believe that people are proud and maybe even a bit happy as well for people like me who are showing the reality of the country and how modern it is and how much it has changed in recent years to Western countries, because I believe that in Western countries we still have a very negative mindset towards China and we simply don't know that much about this country. Maybe it is even good that people like me are actually showing the reality of China and what it's like to travel through China. Is China a safe country to travel to? Definitely yes. I've never felt safer anywhere else than here in China. There are cameras everywhere. If you would get robbed, they will probably find that person very quickly. And I know what some of you might be thinking right now. They are watching your every step and they take away your freedom. But honestly, I prefer to be watched all the time, walking around without worrying at all, than feeling tense and scared all the time to be robbed or worse. And honestly, I also don't care if the government of China knows how much time I spend in public bathrooms. The cameras only add up to the safety of this country. Besides that, I couldn't help but notice that the police here doesn't have weapons. I've never seen that in any country I've been to so far. Every time police were heavily armed, and here they don't have weapons. This is how safe this country actually is. Not even the police needs protection. And I also saw some people leaving their bags in front of public bathrooms at train stations, for example, or stores. They just left them there, entering the bathroom or store or whatever, and nothing happened. The bag stayed there. That was super incredible. Do that in Barcelona and the bag will be gone within 3 seconds. Let's now talk about how to best move around China. Do never underestimate the dimensions of this country and the cities. Sometimes it looks like you only have to walk a block, but trust me, a block here is not like a block in Europe, it's way bigger. So you should definitely consider to take the metros in the big cities of China. The metro systems are extremely good and super affordable. You usually pay something between 2 and 5 yuan per ride. And it's super fast and convenient, and the trains ride every several minutes. So it's a very great way to move around the cities. If you need to travel a long distance, you might need to take a flight as the country is huge. But there's also the opportunity to take long distance trains. China has the biggest network of high-speed trains in the world, and it is a very impressive experience to take one of these trains, so I recommend you to do this at least once while you are here in China. These high-speed trains can take you, for example, from Beijing to Shanghai within 4 hours only instead of 12, which is what it used to be. Also, the trains are super affordable in general, and usually people here in China prefer to take the trains than the flights. I will leave you a link in the description below that you can use to book a train here in China. If you book a train and you do not get a ticket, don't worry, because as mentioned before, China is a super digital country. So your train ticket will always be connected with your passport ID number. Whenever you enter a train station, your passport will be scanned, your ID number is connected with the ticket, they will see all of your data, including the train you want to take, and therefore will let you into the train station and onto the train, of course, as well. Your passport will also be connected sometimes to some tourist attractions. So if you get a ticket online in advance, for example, to the Great Wall of China, this ticket will also be connected to your passport number. Remember, wherever you go here in China, always bring your passport. And now let's talk about the very last point for today's video, and that is the differences from home. China, of course, has a lot of cultural things that are extremely different from what we are used to. For example, China is a country that has more than 1.4 billion people, meaning in some cities it will feel a bit overwhelming with all those people around you. sometimes it is just too much, to be honest. Also, depending on where you are, the noise and all the movements in your surroundings can be a little bit extreme. But besides that, China is also a very interesting country to visit. You can explore foods that don't exist in Europe or Western countries. And by the way, the food here might be extremely spicy, so always ask whether it is spicy or if they can make it not spicy if you are not used to that, like me. And of course, as mentioned before, China is a very digital country, which I personally enjoyed a lot. I feel like this makes life so much easier. I would love to have some of these things like digital apps or digital payment methods in Europe as well. In general, in the cities, the air quality will vary a lot. So if you are sensitive to pollution, you might even feel it and you might need to consider to wear masks. I have been in big cities, mega cities such as Beijing, where I felt like the air was extremely clean and extremely good. But here in Shenzhen, for example, it feels a little bit different. So be aware of that and consider to get some masks. People here also do that. You see them a lot in metros, for example, wearing their masks. China is an incredible country and you can make unforgettable memories here. With these tips, you are prepared to explore the country's rich history, its stunning landscapes and its vibrant culture like a pro. Let me know what you are most excited about here in China. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow me along my adventures in the country, and I will hopefully see you in next week's video.